Finally getting back at it with another part within my vinyl collection series. This is now part 29 already, and just about to finish up the M's within this segment, so still got so much to do. But anyway, what's going to be playing in the background is what I would consider one of the very best from the Mexican extreme metal scene, and that would be Shub.
Hey Wyatt, I just want to say recently that I know work's been really tough for you and you've been really stressed out, but I just want you to know that people like myself care about you.
Tony, how many times do I need to tell you this already? You goddamn mouth-breathing, drooling Neanderthal. When the sign on the door says that Daddy's recording, you don't come barging in telling me stuff. Like, how many fucking times is this gonna happen?
Damn, Wyatt. I just wanted you to know that I care.
I don't care! Just go! Leave! Get out of here! You don't even pay rent! Oh my fucking god, man. I don't even know why I keep you around. Anyway, the name of this album is The King-Like Celebration. Excellent death metal that's Lovecraft theme inspired that more people need to be talking about, because in my personal view, it's an underground classic. Part 29 is going to start off with Molested, Dram. If you are a death metal fan and you do not know this album, shame on you. Change that immediately, because I feel like this is one of those underground essentials within the genre. Because I know I've always compared it to the likes of bands like, Portal with that very dissonant death metal sound, but whereas Portal has a lot of twists and turns with that style, Molested's approach is just way more of that ground and pound. It's just so much more focused on being aggressive, and it makes it just so terrifying yet very high energy and fun. And everything about this album is just pulverizing from start to finish. Even at the midway point of it, there's like this folk interlude with like the guitar playing and blast beats over it that still has like this threatening aura to it. So this album just fucking slays, and it's a bummer that they really didn't do much after this, because I know since they're from Norway, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's the vocalist or the guitarist of this band formed Borknigar, and they've just been more focused on more successful bands. But either way, it's definitely something you guys should definitely check out. It was put out through The Crypt, and this label still keeps a lot of copies still in print, so you have no excuse not to pick up this little hidden gem. But yeah, another thing too to point out that really grinds my gears is it's a double LP, but it only really needed to be one. And because of that, the first LP side, A and B, have the re-recorded, remastered versions from, I believe, 2017. And side C and D have the original mix from 1995. And I cannot stress it enough, the original mix is far superior to that of the re-recordings. It's just darker and grimmer sounding. It's just so much better. I don't know, there's just no need for the re-recordings at any point. But anyway, as for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with band photo and the track listings. Comes on a gatefold with lyrics and more kind of like liner notes. As I stated, on a double LP, but comes on like this semi-translucent dark red vinyl. Up next is one of the big names within German black metal, which obviously I am talking about Moonblood. This is the release of Blut and Krieg. If memory serves me right, this is one of the very first records I bought on a distro that I got through the mail. And I think it was Dark Descent had copies of this back then, which was in 2015, like the beginning of 2015, when I started my obsession with this format. And how I got familiar with the name Moonblood was back around that time period where metal YouTube, its community was just way more passionate. It was full of people that actually genuinely wanted to do this because it seemed like they actually cared. Opposed to now that has a lot of people plugging in their shitty excuses of patron accounts or selling merch that honestly makes people look like if they wore it in public they would be considered like a fucking dork, like just how stupid it looks. Like, again, so back then in that time period, believe it or not, there was like actually genuinely passionate people talking about stuff. And Moonblood was always brought up. And even though they've been around for decades, I think like early 90s, somewhere around that time frame, the reason why they were brought up so much for that time period, 2014, 2015, was getting Moonblood records was rare. And this is a bootleg, actually, I believe, because there's no like information on the back or anything, no labels or distributors, so this is a bootleg, and just a bootleg itself was like the next best thing, because I know recently Iron Bonehead has been just shelling out non-stop all these represses of Moonblood records, which I definitely need to get. But before Iron Bonehead did that, seriously, it was impossible to get LPs of Moonblood. So bought this without even questioning it, even though I really didn't know the difference between a bootleg back then, because I was just starting out. But yeah, another thing that interested me about Moonblood when I searched them up on the Metal Archives, this is the only band I've ever seen this tag. They're considered by genre epic raw black metal, which is something I've never seen. Like, how do you become both epic and simultaneously raw? Like, I understand like epic black metal stuff like Cult of Fire and Summoning, but epic raw black metal? And they kind of do it quite well for the most part, because it has like that, you know, obviously raw necro sound, but it has like this kind of like grand triumphant vibe going off when you check out tracks like In a Bloody Night of Full Moon, and Snow Covered the Lifeless Bodies Under a Cold Full Moon, so you know, a lot of stuff to do with Moon here, obviously. And yeah, they did a really good job with it, and I definitely need to get more by them, because this is the only thing I have of theirs as of right now. But yeah, you guys should know this band for the most part, because they're highly respected when you talk about German black metal. As for the layout and packaging, it's pretty bare bones, because again, it's a bootleg, so you have album artwork, backside with the band logo and all the track listings, double LP that both come on plain white vinyl. Then I have Mooncytadel. This is their demo comp, or it's an EP called Moon Calls to Wander, The Winter's Majesty. I believe this is the live guitarist or bassist for Goat Moon. This is his personal project that is really, really good. Like, the melodies on here are very catchy, but still have like that very cold, icy, atmospheric kind of like raw black metal sound that really had a lot of promise to it when you check out the EPs and demos. The full length, which we'll be talking about soon, because I also have that, just fails in comparison to the demos, because it just really captures the spirit of, like, you know, old Finnish black metal when it was starting out. And this is definitely the best material as of right now with Mooncytadel, because it's the track, I think it's either the title track or Dance of a Dark Pagan Spell. It has a certain melody that goes off that is just so ungodly infectious for a fucking black metal riff. So yeah, definitely check out Mooncytadel if that sounds up your alley. But pretty sure Merchant of Death or New Era should have copies of this, if memory serves me right. But as for the layout and packaging, since it was put through Darker Than Black, it's got to be spot cloth. So you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings. Double LP, both LPs come on two different colors, so side A and B is black, and side C and D is gray. As I stated a minute ago, I also have the debut full-length by Mooncytadel, that being Night's Scarlet Sympathies. Gonna be real, as I stated, it's just okay. I mean, it doesn't really capture the same spirit and vibe like the demos, mainly because I believe it includes a second member this time. This dude's stage name is ridiculous. He does both the drums and chanting, called Fourth Caller of Black Gnosis and the Ancient Hyperborean Spirit. What a stage name. But yeah, with the inclusion of another member, it just kind of feels a little too overblown, and not just because there's keyboards and it's symphonic, but it's like they're trying to be ambitious, but at the same time, like, really take away the really minimalistic sound that made the demos just really work very well. That it just kind of feels like, hey, we heard Nightside Eclipse, let's just kind of try to replicate it, but just nowhere is good. Like, that's what this comes off like, and it sucks. Because, again, if it was anything like the demos, I would love this record, but I think I spun it once, and not really in the mood to spin it again anytime soon. But yeah, if you're interested in checking this out and getting it, Hell's Headbangers, Werewolf Records, Stuff the Store will carry copies of this. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, comes on a gatefold. I just got the standard black vinyl edition of it. Last band within my vinyl collection that starts with the word Moon is going to be Moonsorrow with their 2016 full-length album. These guys are a Finnish pagan metal band that typically I'm not really crazy for any kind of genre within metal that has the word pagan in it. It's just never really clicked with me. But what piqued my interest about these guys is that commercially they're really successful in their home country, as they actually chart on the billboards, which is just really uncommon to see a band like this that even blends a bit of like black metal to some degree chart of any kind, regardless of country. And their songwriting it's surprisingly like really good. Again, coming from me, someone that doesn't really like this, because it just like it has like this melancholic type of vibe, but it still carries like that hefty metal punch to it. And there's been so many times, you know, I'll see this in my shelves and I think about like, I should just sell it. I barely play it. But then I'll end up playing it and just absolutely digging the hell out of it. And that's happened like 4 times already. And I don't know, just something about Moonsorrow's overall songwriting of having like harsh vocals, clean vocals, kind of like this Viking type of metal, I guess if you really even want to call it that, type of a blend with it. It all just formulates to a really captivating sound, and I gotta give it up to these guys. And I know their 2007 full-length, which I'm not going to even bother to pronounce any of their albums, it's all in the Finnish language. I've heard this is like their magnum opus, and I need to definitely check that one out real soon. But yeah, their 2016 full-length, really digging this, and yeah, that's coming from someone who really doesn't like pagan metal. But anyway, for the layout and packaging, this was put out through Century Media, so you have album artwork, backside with the track listings and band photo. Comes on a gatefold with all the lyrics inside. It has an insert sheet, again with the lyrics, which is kind of a waste of paper. And the vinyl edition I got comes on crystal clear LP. The next record I don't really feel like I need to waste that much time talking about, because it's Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness. One of the most recognizable names within death metal itself. That I always joke around that they made one of the greatest death metal albums along with one of the worst within their discography. But yeah, this is the type of death metal that is just pure evil. Like the type of stuff that I could picture actual demons like jamming out to this when they're done torturing people, because it's the track Chapel of Ghouls. That song just... it's so good. I love that song. But other great tracks, obviously, Visions from the Dark Side, Maze of Torment, the fan favorite, Mortal Rites, Blasphemy, Evil Spells, again, just all stuff you should know. I'm not going to tell you where to get this. It's widely available everywhere on the internet. Put it obviously through Earache back when, you know, they actually had extreme metal bands. Comes on a gatefold with a very, very gorgeous photo of them. Looking like fucking models. Insert sheet with just credits on one side and all the lyrics on the other, and just comes on a standard black vinyl. Also, a side note, if you have a Morbid Angel tattoo, I don't give a fucking shit. Moving on to a record within my collection that has one of the coolest looking packaging layouts of everything I have, and that would be the demo compilation by Mortuary Drape, Necromantic Doom Returns. If you don't know Mortuary Drape, shame on you, because they are a pioneer really within first wave black metal that I would arguably say, if you were to see and hear all the first wave black metal bands, you know, stuff like Bathory, Venom, Celtic Frost, Sarcophago, and names of the sort, I would arguably say Mortuary Drape is the heaviest of the bunch, because all the other bands were really more influenced by like Motorhead and kind of making it all the harsher and darker, maybe even putting in like their own like little spin and twist on things. Mortuary Drape seemed to be more inclined with taking the influence of that of death metal, which makes total sense considering that they were active with these demos in their debut album around like 87 to like the end of the 80s, and that's when death metal was starting to gain a following and become a new fresh face. And Mortuary Drape clearly took influence with that and encompassed it with their blend of black metal during that time. And damn, this stuff is so sinister, but just jams out, and it's so awesome. I believe it contains their first 2 demos, and one of them is obviously Necromancy, which is a killer demo by them, along with Into the Drape, which is always a personal favorite of mine. But yeah, stuff is so good. As for the layout and packaging, this is really where it makes it stand out, because this was put out through Iron Tyrant. And if you want to get any merchandise specifically by Mortuary Drape, go to Iron Tyrant, as I believe one of the members runs the distro, and literally anything by them you can get at Iron Tyrant. But Nuclear War now got copies of the special edition and had to get it because it includes a kind of like a, I guess, fabric pouch within it, so I don't really put in a protective sleeve, and it's pretty cool with the design and layout for that. As well too, it has a hard cover kind of like outer jacket that has kind of like this golden stamped foil with it on the band logo. Same deal with the track listings right there. Take that out, and now you have the LP in the regular jacket with just more additional artwork, again, song titles and track listing on the other side. Also includes has on a gatefold, which is really cool photography right there, along with an A2 poster of a band photo of a live gig that they did. And the LP variant comes on gold, I believe limited to 100 copies. And of course, I have their legendary debut album, again, Mortuary Drape, All the Witches Dance. God damn, this album is so unnecessarily good. Like, take the songwriting and guitar riffs of Merciful Fate, but just smother it with first wave black metal and just a hint of death metal, and you get this banger. Like, god damn, there's no way you can be a black metal fan and not dig this album. It has that like evil occult vibe, but just still hits like a ton of bricks and just jams out. Like, seriously, it's truly impossible to say you're a black metal fan and then also say right next to it, I don't really care for the debut album by Mortuary Drape. Like, you can't do that. That's just like against the fucking law. This album is just so fucking good, as I stated. Tracks like Primordial, Astral Bewitchment, Funeral Chant, which is my personal favorite, 13th Way, Medium Mortem. It's just like, this album, from start to finish, it's just all good. Alright, seriously, this is something that everyone should know and listen to. And immediately when Iron Tyrant announced that they were doing like the 20th anniversary edition of this, bought it up without even looking at the price tag. So if they're still available on distros, again, like Iron Tyrant and Nuclear War now, Hell's Headbangers, any of the sort, get them, because they will sell out, and they're going to go for dumb money on Discogs, I can promise you that. As for the layout and packaging, Iron Tyrant did a stellar job with it, because it's really similar to that of the previous pressing that was done like 7 or 6 years ago, and the first press of it. So you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings, comes on a gatefold with lyrics and band photo. This also includes a booklet with just more pictures and kind of like, I guess, liner notes about the album, which is pretty neat, but the band photos on here look absolutely stellar and killer, which I really dig a lot. I did, however, only have time to score the regular standard black vinyl edition of it, but it does include a 7-inch with just extra material, and the other side of it is just kind of like a picture of some zombie vampire looking shit. So yeah, there's that with it. The last record I had by Mortuary Drape is their latest album, that being Spiritual Independence. So for the most part, when you check out Mortuary Drape and you hear people talk about them, more often than not, they will talk about the demos, the debut album, and that's really it. Everything in between this and All Witches Dance are really hit and miss. Like, they're not terrible, but they're just like, they're there, and not many people talk about them, because the peak of their work is the demos and the debut. Spiritual Independence, on the other hand, I really feel like this is the closest they've been to capturing the vibe of how they started off in the 80s with their demos and early 90s with the debut album. So it gives off, again, that occult-like vibe that still just jams out. That I would say reminds me a lot of the first 2 albums by the Czech Republic band Root. If that band piques your interest, definitely check out Spiritual Independence. But yeah, overall, really solid album that definitely, if the debut album and the demos pique your interest with Mortuary Drape, the next best thing to check out after that is Spiritual Independence. As for the layout and packaging, it's put through Iron Tyrant, so go there if you want to get copies of it. So you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, band photo, which looks absolutely killer. This does, however, come with an insert sheet with lyrics on one side and just, again, another band photo on the other. The LP edition I got comes on Beer LP, I believe is the name of it. Up next is the black metal band called Mulla with their 2020 full-length album, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But I remember last year this band got so much hype. And it wasn't because of the songwriting or music, but more the fact people were talking about them because of the context, the themes about this band, and the mystery surrounding them. As supposedly, this is a black metal band that has a girl as the frontman doing all the songwriting, like the vocals and the guitar riffs. And it's based out of either, like, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, around that general area. And a lot of people were just freaking out about it, talking about it so highly because of it. And for me, that wasn't really that big of a deal because this has happened before. I don't know if many people are familiar with it. The band called Seeds of Iblis is the exact same thing. It's supposedly, Seeds of Iblis is based out of Iraq. It has a girl doing all the songwriting and vocals. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding it still. And regardless if Seeds of Iblis, if the stories are true, or it's just some dude recording a black metal album in his basement based out of Ohio, regardless, the songwriting is still really killer by Seeds of Iblis. So, because of that, I was just curious to know what Mulla would sound like. Would it have, like, black metal kind of laced together with, like, the songwriting and aesthetic of that, like, Middle Eastern culture? That piqued my interest enough to at least give it a chance. And all it really is it's just a black metal record. Like, there's nothing really else to say about it. And how and why I have a copy of it was one of my internet friends, which I'm not going to say his name, I know he kind of wants to be a bit anonymous. I bought some records off of him and he just included this for free. And I figured, why the fuck not? I mean, they're kind of hard to get, so I thought, you know, why the fuck not? It's free. And yeah, as I stated, giving it another listen from start to finish. It's black metal, and that's it. There's nothing really else to say about it. Anyway, for the layout and packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside with track listings. This is the 2021 repress put out through Feral Age Records, hand numbered. Out of 150, I have 148, and just comes on a standard black vinyl. Up next is Musk Ox with their latest full-length Inheritance. As of right now, this is one of the best albums I've heard of this year of 2021. Definitely a top 3, I would say, that could be the album of the year contender worthy, as these guys play in the style that's considered chamber folk, which I'm not even going to pretend I know what that actually is the characteristics of. Regardless, all it is, it's 3 members. One plays the acoustic guitar, another plays a violin, and the third member plays a cello. By design, it comes off seeming so minimalistic, yet musically, it just comes off sounding so massive and just monumental. It's just breathtaking as it is melancholic and just, good lord, I don't know how they're able to do just such incredible songwriting. There's no percussions, there's no vocals, it's all instrumentals, and it just feels so, just again, incredible and mesmerizing. I believe it's this song on here, Inheritance Part 2 Hindsight. That whole track that runs for like 15 minutes long is just such a journey to listen to, and it's just so incredible. Like, every second of it, I love it. So as of right now, it stands as one of the best for me of this year. And it was quite the pleasant surprise to see this name pop up, because the last time they released anything was back in, like, I think 2014. And yeah, I've seen these guys, their names pop up on my subscription feed and immediately checked it out. You can still get this album, I believe, on their Bandcamp. This is where I got my copy, so there's still copies out there floating around. And this is the special edition, which I'll show why that it is in a second. But as for the packaging and layout, you have album artwork, backside, and this is hand numbered. I got number 72 out of 150. It also comes on a gatefold with just credits and a band photo, and the reason why it's a special edition, I don't know if it will show, it is all signed by all 3 individual members, which is really neat, and just comes on standard black vinyl. Then I have Musmahhü with the debut full-length album, Reign of the Odious. This is a blackened death metal band based out of Sweden. It is one of the many projects by Swarty the Puth that's all part of like the ancient record bands, and this is his take on death metal for the most part. And really, to summarize it in short, besides the just blistering fast blast beats being played here, vocally and guitar wise, it just comes off like a death metal version of Mgła. Which, I mean, overall it's a pretty good album, but that's really all that needs to be said with it. Not much else of a standout within it. And yeah, for the most part, it's just Swarty the Puth doing death metal, really. That's really all it is. It's put out through Iron Bonehead, so obviously there's still going to be loads of copies available there, so that's the place to go to get them. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes on a gatefold with lyrics and a photo of the mastermind himself, and is just on standard black vinyl. Reaching the end within this vinyl collection part, next up is going to be Mysticom with their debut album, In the Streams of Inferno. Industrial black metal. If you are interested with that, this is a staple album to check out. It is a must listen, because this album truly embodies both of those styles to the highest degree, I feel like. That I spun this about a week ago, totally forgetting that I had this album, and goddamn, I was blown away all over again. I guess the best way to put it is with the synthesizers, the guitar riffs, the vocals, and just the overall atmosphere. Think of In the Nightside Eclipse by Emperor, just laced and smothered with industrial usage and instrumentation. That's what this is, and it fucking slays. Like, god damn, this album is so pulverizing. One thing to point out here is with the album artwork, it's not the original artwork. The original artwork just had like a stream of like lava or something like that, just hinting at the name. Whereas the repress right here put out through Century Media, I guess they kind of wanted to give off that like apocalyptic industrial type of vibe to really capitalize on the songwriting. So I guess that's why they changed it to look like, you know, a city kind of like collapsing and shit like that. Either way, I prefer the original artwork, but that's just me, because it's really kind of hard to tell what's going on here. But yeah, again, if you want to get into industrial black metal, this is a must listen if you want to get familiar with these styles being played together. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with more artwork, and track listings at the bottom. This comes on a gatefold with a band photo collage and just, I believe, liner notes inside of each track. This, however, does include a massive poster of the band logo and band photo. One thing we really need to point out here is the nipple piercings right on this dude, right there, I think are really significant, because you don't get any more industrial than nipple piercings. It also comes on a printed inner sleeve, so side 1 with just a passageway and artwork, side 2 with the band photo, again, nipple piercing galore right there, and the LP itself comes on white. Last 2 albums are all by the same band. I actually have all 3 by them, but the last record can't fit within this part because I always try to show exactly 15 records. Anyway, next up is going to be Mystik with their debut demo comp, I guess. It's all the early material of when this project started out in 2009 to 2010. Again, another project done by Swarty the Puth that's all part of the ancient record bands. And for a lot of people, they say that this is some of his best work that he's ever done. Because while I argue the fact that Azalisasath is his best project, Mystik just comes off more explosive. The vocals are executed with more aggression, the riffs have more melody that just feel, again, upbeat. Like, it just has a more explosive just feeling and sound to it, which is why I think it really appeals to a lot of his fan base. This was put out through Purity Through Fire, so I'm pretty sure if you want copies, go there, along with Amorphity should carry copies as well. But yep, just a good old demo compilation that really comes off more in vein of that, of like I mean, early over when they were a black metal band to Burzum, stuff like that. If that piques your interest, definitely check out Mystik. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork that's spot glossed to shit, backside with all the track listings, and comes on a gatefold with all the lyrics inside, and just comes on as well too a standard black vinyl. Last record for this vinyl collection part, again, is going to be Mystik. I believe this is a demo that is titled something, that all that right there, if you can read that. And yeah, again, as I stated, it's just really explosive, high energy, like, I guess you could say atmospheric black metal in some degree, but just, again, there's a bit of like aggression, but it's not just over pulverizing, like, hey, let's just smother you with tremolo riffs and just blast beats and call it a day. Like, there's actually a bit of thought and care with how the construction of the songwriting is, and it's just overall really solid. So yeah, when you hear people praise Mystik, there's a reason why, especially when you check out this demo along with the follow-up demo that is my personal favorite, which we'll talk about in part 30. But yeah, these are actually quite difficult to get for a while. I think actually this one is quite difficult. The other demo that has like the door, again, I can't pronounce it, but I know it's of a door, recently got a repress through either Amorphity or Purity Through Fire. But yeah, overall, just really, really high energy killer black metal from Mystik. Again, packaging is really, really bare bones because it's just album artwork, backside with the track listings, and just LP, and that's it. I mean, the jacket material that they use is really cheap as well, which is why a lot of people criticized Ancient Record for a while, because there's rumors, not actually really rumors, there's actual proof that Swery the Puth, or the owner of Ancient Records, which again I'm assuming is Swery the Puth, what he did with these like early records anyway, is he would flip his own records when they were getting near the end of all the copies that he had, which again is just so fucking eye-rolling, but hey, he's on a bigger label now, so hopefully that shit dies out. But yeah, that's it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, I'll have links provided to everything I talked about in the description below. And that is that. So, like always guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.